And what I'm worried about is for my kids' generation, Gen Z, like fast forward 20 or 30 years, what does it look like for them? What does that generation look like? What's the suicide rate among Gen Z and the youngest generation in 20 or 30 years after they've all, so many of them have bought into this and maybe they've gotten the drugs, the surgeries, and then 20 or 30 years hence. What's that? I think we're looking at just the suicide rate already is sky high. I think we're looking at a historic, unfathomable epidemic in the future.
Do you think that litigation, do you think that people suing people for having done this to them when they were younger, do you think that in any way would try to right this ship?
I don't think it rights it, but I do think that there needs to be legislation that opens up that possibility, because as it stands right now, people that are the victims of this, they don't really have any legal recourse.
They don't?
I don't think so. This is what I've heard. It's essentially they don't. And one of the reasons is that yeah, the doctors perform these procedures, but the procedures are illegal to do, and it is ethically and morally it's medical malpractice, but it's not legally medical malpractice because they're allowed to do this to kids.
But they're not allowed to do it to minors, right? Are they allowed to do it to minors?
Oh, it depends on what we're talking. The drugs, they're certainly allowed to. Double mastectomies, they're allowed to. And then
genital surgery?
Genital surgeries, it depends on the state and where you are, but there are definitely states where these genital surgeries are happening to minors, absolutely. They're not as common as the drugs and the double mastectomies, but they are certainly happening. But so if it shouldn't be legal, but it is, doctor does this to you, then what's your legal recourse down the line? That's the problem. That's why the laws need to change, to give people that recourse, to protect kids right now, but then also to give them legal recourse down the line.
When you make a film like this, is this how much does this affect your daily life? I mean, obviously you got engrossed in the subject. How much does this affect your daily life? How much does this affect the way you view the world? And, as a parent, looking at the future and hope for the future. Because it seems like this is just one aspect of a deterioration of our society.
Yeah.
That's prevalent.
Yeah. It's I don't want to say despairing. You don't want to be despairing, because despairing is you've given up hope. And,
right.
And then what's the point? What's the point of even talking about it at that point? So I'm not despairing, but sometimes I feel close to the edge of that, I suppose. And it has been, it's on one hand, I feel like there's not a lot of hope for the future, but then at the same time, we put the film out and it gets the kind of response that it does. And I do see this building backlash against at least what's happening to kids. So, and I think what I mentioned before is kind of it. That's the tension, is that we do have the numbers, and so there's the hope in that. But the institutions that run the country are so completely captured that to claim those institutions back, that's the generational project.
Yeah, like when you saw Biden get interviewed by that trans TikTok star, imagine of all the people he chose to be interviewed by.
Yeah.
What bizarre narrative are they trying to push where they promoted the president getting interviewed by this super bizarre TikTok star that talks about being a woman for 260 days. I've been a woman for 260 days. I'm like, God bless you.